Oh, good. There you are. Here. There's the file. Oh gosh. This one's evil. I know. Very evil. Listen, that's not fair of me. Relax, Perch. I've seen a monster before. 5 minutes with me. He'll be begging for the electric chair. Or the dumpster. Or something bad. Listen here, buddy. If I can even call you that. You're a menace! Your crimes are unforgivable. We have 1.9 million witnesses ready to put you away. You're gonna go away for a long time. Now I know that most of those witnesses adore you. Think you're one of the best Wii U exclusives there ever was. But I know the truth. And that's a lie! You're one of the worst. One of the worst I've ever seen. And don't give me that face. You are not fooling me. You're evil and I know you are. This isn't working. But I'm not gonna let you ruin my career. Ruin my perfect reputation. There's only one thing left to do. There's only one thing I can do. Make an overly long YouTube video about how evil you are. Of all the games that I've ever played, which is a lot, Lego City Undercover is the one I've hated the most. Not just for what it is, but for what it represents for children's entertainment as a whole. Now, I understand many gamers actually really like this game, which is weird, I don't quite understand it, but you know, it's okay. It's okay to have your own opinions. But if you like this game, you're wrong. Have your own opinions. But if you like this game, you're wrong. What? No. What? The game's problems start from the very first cutscene. The attempt at comedy fails, and it does nothing to set up the world or the characters. Cut out the scene and nothing changes. It adds nothing to the game except extremely redundant, painful comedy.
Rex Fury has escaped and is at large in Lego City. Natalia, find Rex Fury and bring him to justice. I'm certain Rex Fury is behind it. Get to the station and get me Rex Fury.
All the jokes in this scene fall flat and are aggressively mediocre. It's probably the best scene in the entire game. There's an immediate identity crisis, as the game is so focused on story beats, but it hardly has any remnants of a plot, and definitely not an engaging one. But it makes up for this by having some of the most mundane gameplay in the history of the universe. Every game has some sort of gameplay loop, and it's important to make this loop satisfying. In Lego City Undercover, the loop is cutscene, drive to the other side of the map, cutscene, QuickTime event, puzzle gauntlets, cutscene, fight, cutscene, drive to the other side of the map with cars chasing you, cutscene, next mission. Now, it's hard to make a consistently good game. Many games will have some aspects that just aren't as fun as the others, making you dread certain moments of this game. Lego City Undercover, however, is extremely consistent. It's consistently miserable, I was never excited to play any part of this game because it was all really bad. Literally every aspect of this game is horrible and painfully insufferable. Let's break these down. The driving is really, really boring. It's just walking, but faster. There's nothing exciting about it. The closest thing to fun is hitting somebody else's car to see how they react. But when there's only about 5 different dialogue options that come up when you hit somebody, it's not actually that fun. The driving is just there to get you from point A to point B. The world is big. Real big. But the problem is, it's real empty. Most of the actual game takes place in about 1/8 of the entire map. But then sometimes you have to drive all the way to the other side of the map. So you just kind of go over there. There's never anything worth exploring in between. It's literally just waiting until you get there. This isn't gameplay, it's just nothing. These sections don't have to be this far away. In fact, it's worse than nothing because you can't just sit back, wait, and relax. You actively have to engage with this mundane gameplay to get you to the right point. There's also no exploration to it, as you always have a dotted line telling you exactly where to go. This means you never get lost. You never see anything interesting. It's just mindless moving forward. Like I said, the world is big, real big, and the driving is slow, real slow. Getting anywhere takes way too long, especially because there's no content in between. You know it's just bad because about halfway through the game, you unlock the train. That cuts out the entire driving aspect entirely. You are actively rewarded by not having to play the game anymore. The puzzle gauntlets are just as mindless. They aren't puzzles. They're just long hallways with random QuickTime events you have to pull off. One of the game's biggest mechanics is costumes, except it isn't actually a mechanic, it's a thumb sore and a painful gimmick. It adds nothing to the game. They only play a part in QuickTime events because some of them are costume specific, so you have to change costumes at some points just to progress, but they don't actually add anything, it's just a restriction. There's no reason why they needed to do this. What if the costumes automatically changed based on the QuickTime event I needed to play? Then I could see the cool model they made without having to press a button to switch the costume. When you get to the end of the game decides it's actually story focused again. Now, it's important that every story follows the set of rules in its world, but Lego City Undercover doesn't care about this. In Lego City, there's a rich billionaire with a skyscraper, but surprise, surprise, he's evil. And his evil plan? Go to the moon. So he sneaks onto some rocket, he funds a rocket and goes and gets into space with that. No. His skyscraper is the rocket, and he suddenly shoots up to space with Chase. It's jarring, but at least you have space gameplay. The moon in Mario Odyssey was so much fun, and all of Super Mario Galaxy was a blast. But then you remember, this is Lego City Undercover. Yeah, fun isn't something the developers knew how to do. Take the slow gameplay and make it slower. That's the moon. But this is one of the final areas of the game. It should be getting exciting, right? Well, pacing is an issue of its own. I didn't realize that I had played the final boss until the credits rolled. The story doesn't really push forward at any point, it just kind of happens. Plus, it's not actually difficult. Sure, you might die, but there's no penalty for dying. You just sort of respawn a few frames later with invincibility, and all the damage you did to the boss stays. So it doesn't even matter. The game just sort of ends, thank God. Okay. So the main campaign is a disaster. Got it. But there's still an open world here, and oh wait, that's bad too. The game entices you to explore with these fancy looking shiny Lego blocks. Now, let's be clear. These do nothing. Literally nothing. But still, when you see one from the world, you might as well go get it. You know, maybe there's some fun little puzzle to go get it. The problem is that the game's open world is actually pointless. You have to find a very specific linear path to get where you need to go. Linear gameplay isn't bad, but when the game advertises and promotes itself as an open world game, having a linear gameplay design doesn't make much sense. Like, you'll find a gap in the wall, but then you're met with an invisible wall. Find a higher area you can jump from, invisible wall. Drive a car up a ramp and into the cage with its Lego pieces, invisible wall. The game shames creativity and forces you to find that linear path in. Experimentation just doesn't work, and you get so frustrated that you have no motivation to find the right way in, and the game constantly tells you that you're wrong and the way you're going about the game is wrong. These problems litter the already pointless open world, but it gets worse. Way worse. There's a point in the game where you unlock a helicopter. Great, right? That sounds pretty cool. I thought it was pretty cool when I unlocked a helicopter. Well, no. No, it's not cool, and you're dumb for thinking it is. The world is laid out like a big donut, with a mountain in the middle. Obviously, that means that if you're driving, you have to go around the mountain to get anywhere. Oh, but with the helicopter, you can bypass this, because helicopters can fly, right? No. Well, you can fly, but not over the mountains. It doesn't matter if you have a mile-wide gap to go through. The entire center of the world is an invisible wall. The game punishes you for thinking outside the box. And for a children's game, this is just about the worst thing that they could do. This leads me to my last point. The game shows a lot of what I think is wrong with children's entertainment. This game is littered with problems and game-ruining bugs, but the general excuse for this is that these games are targeted to children. But why do we do this? Why do we devalue children so much in media? Why are content maturity and content quality linked? Lowering the quality of a game because its targeted audience is young is just silly. Media, regardless of the age, should be held to a certain standard. Sure, children's media can be simpler, but that doesn't equate to lower quality. Look at games like Super Mario Galaxy. It's simple, a child can play it, but it still oozes with charm and quality. Games can make a huge impact in a child's life, so why are we feeding them this?
Oh, right, yeah.
So yeah, all in all, I'd say this... I think it's time to set the record straight. Well, it's true. I don't like Lego City Undercover. Not one bit. I really dislike it, but this is not the way to criticize. It's true. I had a rough time with this game, but that doesn't mean the game is without any quality. There are people who love this game, and while I think that's a bit weird, that's fine. That's great even. Games are about fun. Taste is subjective, and it's important to recognize that. People liking different things pushes society forward, and while some games have universal appeal, others don't. I know full well that while I love games like Stardew Valley, others hate it. I don't like to focus on games that I dislike, but by looking at just one, I can better define what I like and dislike and explore game preference. Video games are wonderful, and I'm done being negative. I love video games. For every Sonic 06, for every Vroom in the Night Sky, for every Lego City Undercover, games are still a positive thing and something that's worth talking about.